Hello bookworms, it's Jade from Bedtime Bookworm and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here to bring you my second bookworm confession video, which is what I am calling my discussion videos. The first one that I did was a long time ago, probably about a year and a half ago, and I talked about why I don't buy a lot of books. I'll link that video for you guys in case you're interested in checking it out, but keep in mind it was a long time ago, my video quality is not that great, and I probably come across as really awkward. Full disclosure here, I actually quit NaNoWriMo before November even started. For some people, you might think that means that I didn't actually even attempt NaNoWriMo. In my defense, I did spend a few weeks in October thinking that I was going to do NaNoWriMo and planning for it, but then I decided not to move forward with it before November started. So in my mind, that still counts as quitting NaNoWriMo. So in this video, I want to talk about why I was considering doing NaNoWriMo and kind of my thought process that led to me deciding not to actually do it this year. I know November is practically over by now, but it's taken me a couple weeks to kind of gather all my thoughts, think about what I wanted to say in this video. So to kind of go back to the very beginning, I grew up reading a lot. I've always been a reader, but I've never really thought about writing anything. I never wrote any of my own stories when I was a kid, unless it was like for a school assignment. It never occurred to me that I wanted to write anything. I just did not have that desire. I've never had like stories bubbling out of me that I needed to tell. And then a couple years ago, I got into the online book community. I started my book blog, and then I started my booktube channel, and I just got really invested in the online book community. I started going to book events and meeting authors and hearing them talk about their writing process and their inspirations. So about a year after I'd been a part of the online community, I started to get the idea in my head that maybe I should write a book one day. And for a long time, that was just a one day. It's, I hope I can get published before I die sort of thing. It wasn't anything that I was really working towards. It was just something that I thought would be a cool thing to accomplish one day. Last year, during the month of November, I was really inspired by seeing all of these people in the book community getting involved in NaNoWriMo and wanting to write all their words, and it got me really excited. It got me thinking that maybe next year, which would have been this year, I would do NaNoWriMo. At that time, it was already halfway through November. I didn't have any plot ideas, and I realized I don't know anything about writing. At least not like writing a novel, writing a story. So my original plan was that during the year of 2017, I would read a lot of books about the craft of writing and sort of educate myself on how to do this thing that I want to do that I know nothing about. Well, that didn't happen because I not only had a wedding in June of this year, in May I moved cross country. I just had a really busy first half of the year. I wasn't able to put in the time into learning about writing like I had originally planned. And then comes October of this year, people are gearing up with Preptober and getting excited about NaNoWriMo, and it got me excited too. About a week into October, I decided, you know what? I know I don't know anything about writing, but maybe I'll just try it anyways. Because there's so many people out there who say just to jump in, feet first, just to do it, and that you'll learn a lot while you're doing it. I spent about the last 3 weeks of October learning about writing a novel. I went on YouTube and I found a bunch of AuthorTube channels that I learned a lot from. If you guys are interested, maybe I'll do like an AuthorTube shout out video where I talk about the different channels that taught me a lot. So if you're interested in that, let me know down in the comment section or give this video a thumbs up. Not only did I turn to YouTube, but I also turned to writing blogs, and I even got a couple writing books. The two that I read in the month of October were both by K.M. Wheeland, who also has a writing blog, and they were about outlining your novel and structuring your novel. I mentioned those two books in my October reading wrap-up, and I gave them both 4 out of 5 stars. I also actually bought the workbooks for both of those books, and I think all of those materials were really helpful. Then I spent about those 3 weeks trying to plot my novel. I had a plot idea, and I tried to build on it, use these resources I had come across. While I was going through this process, I had a few aha moments where I would just be doing something where I wasn't actually thinking about my story. I was driving, or I was in the shower, or I was riding my bike, I was doing other things, and I would just get this awesome idea that would pop into my head. I would get this warm and fuzzy feeling all over, just like this tingling sensation. I would just know that this was a good idea, or at least a better idea than what I'd already had. It was so cool. But towards the end of November, I got to the point where I realized I didn't have enough of a plot, and I just wasn't going to be able to have a fleshed out outline before November started like I really wanted to. And that was my main reason for deciding not to pursue NaNoWriMo this year. I just feel like I need more time to come up with a story and be able to outline it all. I know the pantsers out there are probably telling me that I'm taking this way too seriously and that you can just go in and really have fun with your writing and kind of discover the story as you go along. And maybe that works for some people, but I know in my gut that that would not work for me. First of all, this whole idea of writing a story I find terrifying. What's interesting is that I feel like I have decent writing skills. Growing up, I was always told, in high school and in college that I was a really good writer. Most of my writing has been for like research papers or in the scientific setting, so very different from creative writing. And I'm definitely not saying that I'm like the best writer. There's nothing left for me to learn. There's definitely a lot of things I can learn about writing, but I think when it comes to the actual process of writing, like putting words on the page and making sentences and paragraphs, I think that I have a really decent base for it, and I have confidence in my skills when it comes to that. Whatever I don't know, I know I can learn. But what I don't have confidence in is the plotting, the coming up with a story, because I've never been the kind of person who just has story ideas in their head. And what I've already learned is that you have to already be thinking about an idea, you have to have it in the back of your head before you're going to get more ideas. So those 3 weeks in October where I was trying to come up with this plot were really helpful because I did have ideas and I have a decent starting point. But I know that there's a lot more that I want to add to the story, and I just need more time to be able to come up with more plot points for it. A lot of the videos and blogs and things that I was reading about NaNoWriMo were full of people who either won NaNoWriMo but didn't plot out their story all the way and then ended up with a first draft that needed a lot of work, which I know any first draft is going to need work, but a draft that was practically unusable that they had to completely rewrite, or they didn't win NaNoWriMo and also blamed it on the fact that they didn't have enough plot figured out beforehand. And those are the things that I want to avoid. Because I'm fairly confident in my writing abilities and writing skills, I feel like I would do a lot better in NaNoWriMo if I had everything planned out, knowing that I could deviate from that plan, but at least having a plan so that I could go in every day and know exactly what I need to write and just be able to write it down. So even though I quit NaNoWriMo this year, I definitely want to do NaNoWriMo next year. So I've come up with a plan for the next year, which is kind of what my plan was last year, but I didn't follow through with it. I'm hoping that making this video will help me to follow through and keep me accountable so that next year I can actually do NaNoWriMo. Over the next year, in 2018, what I want to do is read one book a month about the craft of writing. So if you guys have books to recommend that talk about writing and how to do it well, especially when it comes to like plots and how to make a great plot, definitely leave those books down in the comment section below because I need all the recommendations I can get. So I want to read at least one book every month about writing. Another thing that I want to do is read more post-apocalyptic books and books about zombies. And the reason for this is because my plot bunny that I was working on during the month of October is a zombie apocalypse story. I want to read more books in this genre to, one, show me what's already been done, what's already out there, to help me get more ideas for things that I can do with my plot. I think by reading more books that are in this setting, I think it'll inspire me with more things that I can do with my plot. One of the problems that I'm running into with my current plot is that the main plot is just surviving in this zombie apocalypse. And I'm starting to think that that's just not enough. I mean, I hate to say that the stakes need to be higher because obviously surviving and living are pretty high stakes, but I feel like the stakes need to be higher and I just don't know how to do that. So I want to read more books in this genre to help me see how successful authors in this genre have made their books be more than just about survival. So if you have any post-apocalyptic stories or zombie books that you want to recommend, leave those down in the comment section as well because I need recommendations for that. I've seen a lot of encouraging videos on YouTube about not giving up on NaNoWriMo, but I kind of wanted to be the opposite voice for people who have quit NaNoWriMo or are thinking about quitting. So I just want to say that if you've quit NaNoWriMo, that's okay. You have to take care of yourself and your mental health, and you want to put out the best work that you can, and if that's just not going to happen for you this year, then quit. There's always next year, and just because you quit NaNoWriMo doesn't mean you're a failure as a writer. Okay, so I think that sums up everything that I wanted to say about my NaNoWriMo experience from this year, or maybe lack of experience from this year. I really hope making this video holds me accountable and that next year I can win NaNoWriMo and talk about the things that I did to help me win. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. I post bookish videos once a week, so if you like that sort of content, be sure to subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bookworms, keep reading. Bye! Which is my series of discussion video, which is what I've been, and in that one I talked about that I have been working on during the month because to help me think, for one, in this genre have made their books be more than just about survival. Bye.